Hello everyone. My name is Aarifa from AGS, only destination for learning. So this is my second video on the chapter called The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. The link of the first video is available in the description box of my channel. If you find my videos useful, please like them, share them and don't forget to subscribe my channel. The topic of this video is the making of nationalism in Europe. See, in the previous video you have come to know that Europe people, especially the different kingdoms or the territories of entire European continent, it was inspired from the French Revolution which took place in the year of 1789. French Revolution, which began in this year of 1789, it influenced large number of people across the Europe towards a nationalism. But this was not an easiest task because Europe, if you look at its map during the year of 18th century, Europe did not have any particular nation states. So if you look at the map, Europe did not have the nation states like at present. See, we have Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and many such nations are existing in present European continent. But this was not the case in the Europe of 18th century, but it had its own autonomous territories which were ruled by the independent monarchs, which were ruled by the independent rulers of those territories. People were from different backgrounds, different diversities of culture, religions and languages. To understand the structure of Europe in a better manner, we shall take an example of Habsburg Empire of Europe, which ruled over the Austria and Hungary. This Habsburg Empire, which ruled over Austria and Hungary, had the people who spoke different languages. Among them, the most dominant speakers were German people who spoke German language on a large scale, along with them Italian as well as the Polish people. These were the dominant speakers of this Habsburg Empire, along with many people who practiced diverse religions, cultures and languages. Nothing was common among them. We can call these as the peoples of this Habsburg Empire. See, I am stressing on the word called peoples, but not people. See, the word people is itself plural, but I am using peoples here. Why I am using this term peoples is because, see, people is the word which is used for those who have some common identity. See, we call we the people of India. Here, we the people of India is nothing but we have one particular identity. We belong to one nation. We belong to one nation which has its own specific identity with its flag. Though we are from different religions and cultures, we are all tagged as Indian. That's why we use the term people. But here, there was no such common identity. Everyone had their different cultures, different territories, different languages to speak. So a huge diversity used to exist among the peoples of this Europe. Hence, we use the term peoples. Even in your textbook, in several pages they have used the word peoples but not people because there was no common identity for the people. This was the reason why we have used the term peoples. With all such divisions among them, with all such diversities among them, it was very difficult for the people of this Europe to imagine a collective identity. Along with this, the population of Europe was also quite diverse. Among them, the landed autocracies used to enjoy much more rights have seen that though third estate people were large in number, though they comprised of 90% of the entire population, they were treated as a least, but clergy and nobility, though they were minor in number, they had huge privileges. In the similar manner, landed aristocracies, which made up a small proportion of the land, had several resources, as well as they used to hire peasants as their serfs as well as their tenants. What is this? I will make you to understand. Consider this as an entire population of Europe. Among this entire population, a very small proportion consisted of these landed aristocracies who had huge orchards and fields towards the countryside of the entire European continent. Whereas the majority of the population was of peasants who were poor and used to work for these landed aristocracies in their own fields and orchards. The western and central part of the entire Europe was cultivated by these peasants who were the tenants under these landed aristocracies. Large parts of the western and central parts of the Europe were under the control of the tenants who used to till the land for the landed aristocracies. Whereas the eastern Europe, in the regions of this eastern Europe, serfs were the people who used to cultivate the lands on a large scale. What do you mean by the term serfs is nothing but a bonded labor. See, the system of the bonded labor existed throughout the Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries on a large scale. The appointment of these serfs by their masters, it was called as a serfdom system. This was a very cruel system which is similar to that of the slavery. See, you have studied about the slavery in French Revolution, where most of the people, they were hired as slaves by their masters, how they were exploited and how these slaves did not have any kind of rights over their lives, isn't it? The same slavery system, it matches with the serfdom system of Europe, and these serfs were treated as beasts by their masters, and they were bonded laborers who used to work for the entire landed aristocracies. This was the system which prevailed in entire Europe for a long period of time. And during this period, other than all the landed aristocracies as well as peasants, there arose a new set of a population called middle class men. See, this category of population, it arose in entire European continent because of the industrialization. See, industrialization is one of the most important events of the entire world, especially in European continent. See, during the 18th century, industrialization, it began in entire Europe on a large scale, which led to the emergence of this middle class people who became workers who worked in various kinds of industries for a better life and for better development in their professions. These middle class people, they always wanted nationalism. They always wanted a unique nation through which they can get a new identities. They wanted liberty, and they were largely inspired by the ideals of France, that is liberty, equality and fraternity. But these ideals were different in view of various other people. If you take the example of liberalism, it had its own meanings in the view of each and every person. What does this liberalism means in each and every person's mind, in each and every person's view? Let us have a look. See, liberalism is a word which derives its root from a Latin word called liber, which means free. Liber is nothing but free, and the new middle class which emerged after the industrialization, they wanted both liberalism and political equality for all, and especially for all the people of entire Europe. And for a new middle class, liberalism meant for the liberty and equality of all the people of entire Europe. And they imagined a new government similar to that of which formed in France during the revolutionary period. See, in France, the formation of government ended all the privileges enjoyed by first and second estate and overthrown the rule of monarch. Such a liberty the new middle class men wished for and they desired for. They also wanted an equality among all the people. But equality here doesn't emphasize upon the universal adult suffrage, because though this equality was a key ideal of the French Revolution, it did not provide equality to all the people of France. All were not allowed to cast their vote. Voting rights were confined to only those who paid high taxes, women and children, and also the poor peasants were called as passive citizens. Here we cannot imagine the equality indicates a universal adult suffrage, because it did not happen in case of France. And if you look at this word liberalism in the economic sphere, many of the traders and businessmen, they wanted a complete transformation in the economy by abolishing several trade barriers and economic obstacles. See, you know that there were several different weights and measures existed during the late 18th century of entire Europe. There was no uniform system of currencies. Complete uniformity did not exist in entire European continent. But during the Napoleon period, we have seen that he brought a standard weights and measures in France. He abolished several trade barriers. The same developments the other Europeans expected to happen, because if you take the example with respect to the clothes, see, clothes were measured by the unit called LA in entire Europe. See, this unit LA, it had different measures in different parts of entire Europe. It was 54.7 centimeters in Frankfurt, 55.1 centimeters in Mainz, 65.6 centimeters in Nuremberg, and so on. It had differences in its own measures. So, in order to abolish all such trade barriers, which often cause an obstacle for a faster economic growth, a customs union was formed in the year of 1834, which was initially initiated by the country called Prussia. Later, this customs union was joined by European nations on a large scale in order to acquire a quick economic growth. Along with the establishment of this customs union, even the currencies which were 30 during that period across the entire Europe were reduced to two types of currencies. Whatever different currencies existed, those currencies were drastically reduced to two, which made the trade more easier, which made the economy of Europe to prosper on a large scale because of all these developments. The developments in Europe regarding this economic sphere, as well as a unique measures which were taken to boost up the economy, have initiated the new way with respect to the nationalism. This collective identity in the sphere of economy, it even helped to get a collective identity in different sectors and come to the conclusion of nationalism in Europe. These all developments helped the entire Europe people to gain a collective identity and to strive for a better nationalism in entire Europe. How it took place in the next coming years, we shall see that in the next video. Hope you understood about the development of nationalism in Europe through the economic reforms. If you find my video useful, please like it, share it and subscribe it. Thank you.